Welcome to another edition of Green is Good. This is the Green Festival edition in Washington, D.C., and we're here today with Arthur Newman. He's the CEO and founder of Sustain Green. Welcome to Green is Good, Arthur.
Thank you.
It's great to always have a fellow New Yorker on the show, and we're here in D.C. at the Green Festival. And before we get talking about your new company, Sustain Green, I want you to share the Arthur Newman story. How did you even get to this point where you were so excited or had an epiphany and a vision to start Sustain Green?
Well, I started out as a Wall Street analyst. So I worked on Wall Street for quite a few years. I have an MBA in finance. And I wanted to work in biotech and healthcare in those areas. But just as things evolved, I ended up becoming an internet analyst, and I was very well known on Wall Street as an internet analyst. I also spent quite a few years working as an investment banker. And I did very well for myself, but as time progressed, I was looking for things that interested me more, that really were meaningful to me. And along the way, I took a bit of a personal journey because my daughter developed some severe allergies to some chemical additives, and severe enough that people were starting to diagnose her preliminarily as maybe she had ADHD, and they wanted to medicate her. And my wife and I said, well, maybe not. And we were very committed to organic food in the early days. And then, sometimes parents slip a little bit. And we said, well, we're going to straighten all this nonsense out with her diet. And now she is very successful at a top-rated college and doing great. And the diet made the difference, and it's just something that people don't appreciate. There actually are people with real sensitivity to some of these food additives that we have. And it really made me want to focus the remainder of my career on things that I felt really could make a difference. That I wanted to be a change agent, not just for raising money for internet companies, but for doing good for people. So I said I was at a position where I felt that I could do that. So I started focusing my activity more on green tech companies.
Okay.
And started looking at different ways of generating alternative energy, and along the way became very interested in carbon offsets, which is an area that not that many people are familiar with, but it's a really important avenue for promoting clean energy and clean development. And
when you say carbon offsets, something like what Richard Sandor started with the Chicago Climate Exchange and things of that such.
Exactly. At the time I started getting into it, people were actually starting to abandon the market. California had been talking about putting in place cap and trade, and it wasn't happening, or it was happening too slowly. So the big banks and the big finance people were all leaving. And I thought, from my experience, this is a good time to be entering. Right. And so I started to investigate, and I formed a company with somebody else, and we started to join the different registries. So I became a member of the Carbon Trade Exchange, I became a member of the American Carbon Registry, and we started helping some companies offset their carbon footprint.
Got it.
So along the way, I had an epiphany, because I was working with individuals, people like you and me, right? I mean, all these companies are made up of people.
Sure.
And they were motivated to have their organization be carbon neutral, and they wanted to be carbon neutral as well.
Okay.
Right? But the question was, how can they do that?
Right.
They could go out and buy carbon offsets, but it's really cumbersome. It's not real. They're not well designed for individuals to purchase it, right? And we can all do actions, right? There's a lot of things that we can do individually to reduce our carbon footprint, to make an impact, right? But at some point, there's only so much an individual can do, in the same way there may only be so much a corporation can do, right? You may still need to own a car, right? You have kids. It's very hard to take your kids to soccer practice on your bicycle, right? So we have to be realistic about it. So I said, well, what if we could make it easier for people to reduce their carbon footprint, right? To educate people along the way about other things they could do, other actions they could take in their lifestyle to do it. And what if we could just make it really easy, that you didn't have to change your what you normally did each day, but just incorporate it into your daily routine. And then I said, in my wish list was, and let's make it free also, right? So okay, so I said, that's my wish list. Is it possible?
Right.
So, okay, let me think about it for a while. And in the end, what we developed was a credit card. because, well, let's go where there's some profit, right?
Of
We
course.
all know there's profit in the credit card industry.
Right.
So the first trick is to find a bank that's willing to work with us, that's willing to allow some of that money to be used for other, let's say, for good.
Right.
And means it more than just lip service. And it's not just window dressing for what they're doing, but really has a commitment for that.
Right.
So we found a partner, Commerce Bank, large Midwestern bank, very highly rated. Management's been rated in the top 10, I believe, for the last 7 years by Forbes magazine. So it's a really great organization, and we have really strong support from them for this mission.
Okay.
And then as we developed the product, I started working with the American Carbon Registry. That was one of the organizations that I knew. It's a not-for-profit, and importantly, not only is it a not-for-profit, but it really believes in market-based solutions to climate change. So it's not all about just donating money to a problem, but let's change the behavior. Let's make the market work for us.
Got it.
Right? And so adapting a credit card for this purpose was, again, something that was right in line with what they supported and their way of thinking.
Wow. Okay.
So as we put all the pieces together, what happens now with our credit card is when you use it, every time you use it, we reduce your carbon footprint. The way we do that is we purchase and we retire carbon offsets on the American Carbon Registry.
Well, before we get there, so for our listeners out there, we've got Arthur Newman with us. He's the CEO and founder of Sustain Green. You can learn more about Arthur's great company at www.sustaingreen.com. You have your idea, Arthur.
Yes.
And when did you start developing a business model around it? Like, I'm going to launch this business, and I'm either going to raise money, or I'm going to do this out of my own pocket, or I'm going to bring partners on. When was this now going on?
I would say it was about a year and a half ago.
Okay.
That we had, maybe even a little longer than that when I first had the idea, you know, when I put together my wish list, and then it was probably 6 months of thinking about my wish list going, is this really even feasible?
Okay.
Right? And then once we got to the point of going, I think it can work this way, then I'd say that was about a year and a half ago when we started getting serious about talking to people and trying to put our partners together.
And so did you raise money for this, or you did this on your own?
So crazy enough, this is self-funded, myself and my partners.
Wow.
We put our own money into it.
And how many partners?
I have 3 partners.
Okay.
So, I'm sorry, there's 3 partners in total, myself and 2 others.
Right.
And we have financed it because it's something that we believe in.
Wow.
One of my other partners is also a successful Wall Street guy. We're not all bad. And some of us really believe in causes and want to make a difference and are willing to try to develop solutions. And instead of asking somebody else to put money into this, we said, we're going to do it ourselves.
Wow.
Right? This is our dream, our motivation. We'll finance it. If it works, that's great. And if it doesn't, there's nobody to come and blame us.
So now you put the business model together and you launch it when?
We launched it early this year.
Early this year it launches. And so, again, it's for our listeners and our viewers, it's www.sustaingreen.com. Talk a little bit about the Green MasterCard. What do people get if they go to your website today and sign up for it? And that's the best place to do it right now?
Yes, it's just,
okay,
unless you're here at the festival and you can sign up in our booth.
Unless you're here today.
If you're listening,
right. But if you're listening or watching online.
Watching this, come to our website.
Right, and sign up.
And you can sign up. So you get it's a MasterCard network card. So
looks like this.
looks like more or less like this. I would show you mine, except I don't think I want to broadcast my numbers.
Right.
But yes, that's what it looks like.
Great looking card.
The card is actually biodegradable.
Wow.
So to my knowledge, it's the only card available in the United States that's biodegradable.
Come on.
I think that's a really important point that just doesn't, I think, get appreciated. There's roughly 500 million credit cards roughly get thrown out each year. They end up in dumps, they're plastic, they sit there.
So your card is biodegradable.
It's biodegradable. You cut it up.
Brilliant.
You stick it in some dirt. It's the bacteria in the dirt that cause it to break down. So it's kind of compostable in a sense.
Dumb question. If you already knew where this technology was, what about all the other banks? Why are they making it?
Yes, isn't that the right question to ask?
Right.
Right?
I mean, come on.
Why? it costs more money to produce this card, right?
Great answer.
Right.
I got you.
And it's a great answer and it's a terrible answer.
Right.
Right.
Shame on us.
And so the only way, and I think most banks, Commerce Bank believes otherwise, but most banks believe that consumers just don't care enough. Right. There isn't enough demand for them to spend the extra dollar, dimes, whatever it ends up being.
Wow.
And I think consumers, this is one of the cases where consumers need to. If 500 million credit cards in the dump each year bothers you, this is an example for consumers to stand up and say, we need credit cards like this.
Well, I'm so glad you're telling our audience right now, because I'm sure, like myself, I didn't even know that, those were just going into dumps and of course were non-biodegradable, and actually the technology existed for biodegradable cards. So I'm so glad you brought that to our attention. So now talk about the card. I sign up, I get the card.
Yep.
How does this work? What goes on?
So you sign up on our website, and hopefully as part of the sign-up process, you will use some of the calculators and tools we have for calculating your carbon footprint.
Okay.
Right? And it's both, it's informative and it's educational, because you're not just getting a number, but you're hopefully understanding how your number comes there, what you do that increases or can decrease the impact that you have.
Right.
Right? And we save that number for you, and you have a personal carbon homepage. Now, every time you use this credit card, we reduce your carbon footprint. When you first get the card and make your first charge on it, you get a 5,000 pound offset bonus. That 5,000 pounds, put into perspective, that 5,000 pounds is roughly equivalent to taking a car off the road for 6 months.
It's huge.
So just by getting the card, just with your first charge, right, you go out, you buy something.
You've offset half a year of your driving.
Half a year driving for one of
That's
your cars.
awesome.
So it's an enormous impact. The card has no annual fee, so it's not costing you anything to get the card, right? Then every time you use it, you get 2 pounds of carbons eliminated for every dollar that you spend, and then we have certain bonus tiers for people who use it more.
Now, Arthur, is this like a charge card where I charge and then I pay at the end?
It is a credit card. It works. It is a credit card.
Straight up.
It's not even fair to say it works like a credit card. It is a credit card.
Straight up credit card.
It can replace any credit card you have in your wallet. Again, backed by Commerce Bank, a major bank, MasterCard network. It has all the same protections you're used to from a MasterCard branded card. This one has.
I mean, this is amazing. So
you can use this with Apple Pay, you get your online bank statement, and then on top of all that, though, every month you can look at your carbon page, and you can see how much you reduced your carbon footprint, what kind of benefit that you've had.
And everywhere MasterCard is accepted, this is accepted around the world.
Absolutely.
That's huge. So then talk a little bit about the other benefits that come. What other great conservation and other benefits that come?
What we've done is to do that, I need to talk about some of our other partners, right? So the headline is, all the money that we spend offsetting your carbon is then donated. All the money we spend offsetting your carbon is donated to the Matano Prieto Coalition, which funds rainforest preservation projects in Brazil.
Great.
So how do we do that? In developing this card, we worked with the American Carbon Registry, which is a not-for-profit carbon registry. We buy all of our carbon offsets through them. We work with Winrock International, which is a huge global not-for-profit, Rockefeller Family Foundation not-for-profit. And we actually write our checks to them. They manage the money, so it's not that we're holding on to the money from Matano Prieto. We write our checks to Winrock, they manage it, and the money goes to Matano Prieto. Now, what does Matano Prieto do? It is, the best way to describe it, is a Kickstarter for rainforest preservation. So they develop scientifically validated market-based plans to help preserve the rainforest. Now that means that the plans could be different for different regions, different villages, because they look at what are the reasons that the rainforest is being cut down? What are the economic pressures being faced by the population there? What can we do to eliminate those pressures? Or in a different village where it's already been cut down, what can we do to replant? Now, we fund it. They develop some of the programs. Any one of our card holders is welcome to submit their own ideas. They have to be scientifically validated by the ACR and Winrock, and then the ideas will actually be voted on. So our card holders can actually vote on which of these projects they want us to support. So they're our own projects, and our cardholders have a say in what they're doing. And then, functioning like a Kickstarter, we provide the initial financing for these projects to get off the ground. But because they're being operated under the auspices of the American Carbon Registry, those projects themselves will generate carbon offsets, which can then be sold as an ongoing source of income for the project. So the projects become self-sustaining.
Wow.
So it's not just that we pick one project and it's our pet project that we each year have to keep going. We can have multiple impacts across the board, and each of these live beyond and independent of our cards.
I love it. I love it. I love it. So how do we get people to sign up for your card? And what other things, what other tools do your users get in terms of becoming greener and becoming more conscious of what they're doing in terms of their daily lifestyle?
Great. So 2 separate questions.
Yep.
How do we get people to sign up for the
number
card?
one.
Number one, tell your friends.
Tell your friends.
Tell your friends, all right? We don't have, because we're a B Corp, first of all, I wanted to say that.
Why'd you do that?
We're a pending B Corp.
Why'd you do that rather than?
Because it was important for us to just establish legally on paper for everybody to see that for us, our social mission is as important to us as profits. Honestly, to me, it's more important than profits. But we wanted to just establish and make it clear to everybody. Now, what that means is I don't have a huge marketing budget, all right? And I sure don't have a marketing budget that compares to the money center banks. So I can't put our credit card on every bus. I can't run it on TV shows. So this has to be the reason I'm bringing this up is this has to be a grassroots effort.
Okay.
So we need people who are watching this, people who see us, if you're a blogger, to write about us, right?
Okay.
Put us on your Facebook page.
Okay.
Tell your friends about it. If this is a cause you believe in, get the card, tell your friends. We also have rewards for telling your friends because, you know what, we're happy to offset more carbon. You do something for us, we'll retire more carbon on your behalf. That's our goal, is to eliminate as much of this CO2 as we can, right, through our process. So we really need the support of the community, the people who say this is a great idea and care about it. This is a simple action that you can take. Apply for the card.
And let's just pause at that. I have a MasterCard in my wallet right now. Why would I not just cancel that MasterCard and then get this?
Laziness.
And that's
inertia.
Apathy or something.
Apathy.
So the idea is, let's switch over.
There's no good reason. There's no good reason not to switch over if you're using a credit card already. Right. Use this one instead.
Wow.
Accept some rewards that really make a difference, right? Look at the bank that's behind your credit card and say, do their values align with my values? Right? Do I support what they support? If the answer is I'm not so sure or no, maybe look at who you're banking with and try a different credit card. You're not going to be giving up anything, and you're going to be gaining a great deal.
What else do we get as a user? Obviously, there's already so many great reasons to sign up. I read about your card before I even met you, Arthur. Talk a little bit with our audience about the tracking tools and other great benefits that you've designed into this process.
So for us, this is a lifestyle. Right, this is a commitment, right? And this card is one tool in a commitment to fight climate change, to make a statement, to make a visible statement that people can see. When you use this card, go, that's an interesting card, right? I get compliments, I get comments when I use this card.
I love it.
So we want it to be incorporated into everything that you do. So with that, yes, we provide tracking tools so you can monitor the impact that you're having and the benefit that you're creating. Right. And you can get that right on our website. You log in, you see it, right? We also have a community. So you're joining a community of people who are like-minded, who have similar beliefs. You can interact with them on our social sites. And we believe that we've created a site of scientifically valid information. So if you're looking for a background, if somebody's saying, oh, I don't believe in climate change, this doesn't make any sense, and you want a rebuttal, you can come to our site, and we will have the facts laid out, I think, in a way that's really compelling. Beyond that, that's not what you need, but you're looking for other suggestions of things that you could do to make a difference. We have that on our site. And in fact, we will shortly be launching another site which will have multiple actions that you can take that we've quantified, such as when you go get your cup of coffee in the morning. So one thing is, when you get your morning cup of coffee, we've quantified on our site. You can see how much coal equivalent you will have eliminated, how much gasoline equivalent you will have offset by putting your coffee on our card. But beyond that, what else could you do? So what we're adding is information about, well, what if you took a cup, like the cups we have at our booth, right? A reusable cup, what the impact is of that. So you can actually learn about it. You can sign up to take that challenge, and then it will actually quantify how much CO2 equivalent you have eliminated by taking that challenge for a week. And it will total up what you've done. You can do multiple actions, so now you can see the impact from your card, the impact from other actions that you're taking that aren't related to spending, and you can challenge other people. You can form groups. You can have a group challenge versus another group challenge. The best tool is education about it.
I love it. That's right. I love it. Well, this is wonderful, and I just think all of our viewers and listeners, if you use a credit card, do what I'm going to do. Sign up for Sustain Green's Green MasterCard. This is wonderful, Arthur. We just want to help you spread the word as much as possible. We're so glad you came on the show today. We're so glad your daughter was the change maker in your family and that she's doing so well right now. What a great story. Arthur Newman, he's the CEO and founder of Sustain Green. Thank you for making the world a better place, Arthur Newman.
Thank you. Thank you for spreading the word.
And you are truly living proof that green is good.